Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name's Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. Today we are doing our March reading wrap up. That's crazy.
Yeah.
The fact that it's already April is like giving me a little bit of a complex, but that's okay. I have 5 books to talk about this month. She has 10. So she's gonna do like a couple at a time, and she's gonna start and finish just to like make the video flow a little bit better because she's got double the amount that I have. But I would say like I had a decent reading month. Everything that I read I enjoyed, which is like it's been a while since that's happened.
Yeah, I had a really good reading month. Yeah. I really enjoyed most of mine. I think I've only got one that's got a 3, and everything else has 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So I had a really good reading month.
So I feel like that's a success. And I'm still on track for my reading goal. I'm assuming you're still on track for your reading goal.
I am.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm ahead a little bit.
I do not think I'm ahead, but I'm definitely on track. That's all I can ask for.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Like, I've had a really good reading year so far, I feel like. I've been, like, really on track with it.
Yeah. And I've actually, up until now, been pretty okay with actually tracking it on Goodreads. But there's only 2 that I haven't tracked, so I'll just do that before I get to the point where I was, like, last year, where I had, like, 30 that needed to be tracked.
You should track those today before you leave my house.
I will.
So that, like, we know it's there, done.
Yeah. The only ones that are tracked right now are the ones that I've read on my Kindle app, or, like, finished on my Kindle app, and so, like, I have them synced, so it automatically marks them as read.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
But then, like, these 2 here on the bottom, I finished them, like, I finished the physical copies, so then I have to go in and add them.
I'm kind of a freak about it. Like, the minute I finish a book, I'm like, yes.
It's
like like my own little gold star system. I'm like, yes, I did it.
Yeah.
Let me go mark it. I don't know, it's weird. But the first one that I read in March, God, I can't get used to saying that.
I know.
Was Home Before Dark by Riley Sager. I think this was the only one I was missing that I had not read by him yet.
God, I always think it's a woman. I'm sorry.
He wants you to think it's a woman.
Yeah.
Believe it or not. I gave that one, what did I give it? 4 stars. 4 stars. So this book is basically about a girl whose parents lived in a place called Banbury Hall when she was younger, and supposedly it was really haunted, and the father wrote a book about it, talking about how haunted it was, and it was in like a smaller town, and like it got its notoriety from that, and the town kind of hates him for it, and she kind of resents it. She doesn't think it was true. She thinks it was just kind of a work of fiction, but her parents like benefited off of it, and kind of he got really famous as an author, and so like their whole life has been kind of around this. I think the book was titled House of Horrors. So like she was known in school as like the kid who's like grew up in the haunted house, you know, like, so she resented it her like whole life. And then they went, so her dad died and left her the house. She had no idea that he still owned the house.
The haunted house.
The haunted house.
Oh, okay.
So that's like basically like where it takes off.
That's
like,
interesting.
So she goes back, and because she is kind of really pissed off because she's asked her parents her whole life, like, did this really happen? Like, come on, tell me what really happened. She totally doesn't believe in it. She's like, you guys are full of it. Tell me what really happened. Why'd you really leave that house? Like, because apparently they left in the middle of the night, like left and went to a motel, and like they never went back. They never went back to get their stuff. They moved somewhere else, and that's how like the story was told. And so she has a company, her and her partner renovate houses. So she goes back to the house, and she tells her partner like they're gonna renovate it and they're gonna sell it. But she also is like searching for answers in this small town.
For sure.
Because she wants answers, and she wants to know what really happened. So she definitely gets much more than she bargained for.
Imagine.
Yeah, I mean,
because there wouldn't be a book if
right.
Yeah.
So like she does start to uncover stuff, and things do start to happen, and she finds out obviously that she was right. Her father was lying about some things, but it's definitely some very interesting reasons why he was lying about some things.
That's kind of crazy.
Also, I appreciate the actual paranormal aspect in this book. His previous book, Lock Every Door, had set me up for a paranormal aspect, and it was like explained away. Like it was actually human like
Did
activity.
I read that one?
I don't know. It's pink. It has a pink cover.
I don't think I did. I'm thinking of a different one.
So that
I'm
one.
thinking of Ruth Ware. Never mind.
Okay, I was really hoping we were gonna get some paranormal activity in this one. I got my paranormal activity in this one, and I was very happy about it. Yeah. So I really did like this story. I thought there were a lot of twists and turns, pretty dark.
I'm thinking of Lock and Key by Ruth Ware.
That one's definitely on my list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one I read that I liked. But it's kind of like the first one that you explained. Like it had like a paranormal feel to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that one set me up for a paranormal feel, and then it was just like explained away by human activity, and I was like, oh.
I wanted it to be a ghost.
Bummer. I wanted it to be a ghost. So this one does have like some, it has both in the aspect, but it was really creepy, a good read, and I really liked it. Probably my second favorite by him.
What's your first favorite one?
Survive the Night.
Okay.
I really like that one because it's set up like a movie. It's
fun.
kind of like a screenplay type of, I like that one a lot. Oh, right, I'm going into my second one.
Yeah.
I forgot. Already. We're real early in the video.
I know.
I already forgot.
Starting off strong.
So the second one I read was The Disappearing Act by Catherine Steadman. This was another psychological thriller because I have read a lot of those this month. I'm sorry. So this was about Mia, who's an actor from London who goes to LA to audition for like a pilot series. She meets a girl while they're waiting to audition. Her name is Emily. And it's kind of one of those situations where it's like, hey, can you watch my stuff while I go like feed my meter? It's gonna run out before we like get to audition because the line's so long or whatever. This girl disappears.
Okay.
So she still has like her wallet and keys, and she goes and auditions. She can't find Emily by the time the audition's over. She can't like leave it with the lady at the desk. They don't take personal items. Just so weird.
I know. I feel like at that point I just like
I'd be like,
police station or something.
Right. Okay. So I actually have that written down in my notes that like this is what did I say?
Can I be real? I would probably just leave it there.
Yeah.
Like if she didn't come back for it, I'd be like,
I just put it on the chair or something.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Okay.
Sorry, it's not my problem.
No, I said it. I said it was also one of those reads where I was like, yeah, it could not be me. No.
I would never like leave with somebody's personal belongings.
No, but like literally there were so many times in this book where I was like, yeah, this is a bad idea. Like it was a fantastic read.
It's like a horror
so
movie.
good.
We're like, don't
but
do that.
I was like, this is a bad idea. Like this is you're about to be played. Don't do that.
Yeah.
It was so many instances like that where I was like, yeah, it could not be me. I would have gone to the police station, turned her stuff in, and washed my hands of it. I'm sorry, I don't know what kind of weird shit you're into, but it's not about to include me.
What did she do? Like try to find this girl?
She really did. She went on she like really tried to find this girl. The rest of the book was about finding this girl.
No, see, no.
It was good. It was good, and it had some really crazy shit. And like it was almost like it was very necessary. But she got set up. She got really set up. Like
something bad happened to that girl, right? And then she was caught with her personal belongings.
Well, I mean, she was involved from the beginning. Like there was a reason that girl was there, and there was a reason she approached her. Like it was a whole it was twisty. But again, this is the whole reason why I would take it to the police station and wash my hands of it.
That's the whole reason why I would just leave it on the chair.
Right, like just done.
You're not gonna. I don't know what's in there.
I don't know. But that couldn't be me.
What, there's a gram in there, and then I walk outside and get stopped by the police. Like I'm not getting caught with that in my hands.
Couldn't be me.
I have no idea what's in your purse.
So like I gave it 5 stars because I really did enjoy it, and I was like on the edge of my seat. But realistically, couldn't be me.
Yeah,
couldn't be me
in real life. Not Chasity. So I guess I'll talk about my first one. My first one, just to get out of the way, I've mentioned that this year, once a month, I'm rereading one of the Harry Potter books. And this month, I read my favorite out of the series, The Prisoner of Azkaban. This is, of course, the one where, you know, Harry heads back to Hogwarts and learns that the person who was responsible for his parents being found by Voldemort is now escaped from Azkaban. And sounds like he's after him. Now, Sirius Black is my favorite character in the whole series, so I love this book, 'cause I love this interaction and this introduction to him, and then their interaction in the end. Like, it's just, and it explains the backstory behind Harry's parents and their friendship, like the Marauders, really, really well. I really love it. It's my favorite in the series every time I reread it. It's also my favorite movie. Yeah, obviously 5 stars.
Ironically, my next one is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone.
She's finally joining the reread with me.
I am. So this is the first time that I've reread this book since I was a teenager, since the very first time I ever read it. And it's definitely magical rereading this. Like, I cannot even tell you, like, describe going back to Hogwarts and like that whole world and revisiting it and like relearning everything just like from day one is just really, it's a wonderful experience. And I just loved like just re-meeting all these characters. But the things that like struck me as an adult that I just feel did not hit me as hard as a kid were things like, you know, like Hagrid getting Harry like his first birthday present.
I know, and the cake.
And the cake. And like, you know, like things that like I don't necessarily, like I may have thought they were like really sweet when I was a teenager, but like they didn't hit me as hard. Like as 31-year-old adult, I'm sitting here crying because this child's never had a proper birthday. And you know, like, you know, the friendships, the relationship he creates with Ron and Ron's family, like it like made my heart so happy and so sad at the same time.
And you know what's interesting about it is I think it's easy to forget if you don't reread it for a while that like Harry, Ron, and Hermione were not always friends in the beginning. They were Harry and Ron were very much friends, but Hermione was not.
No, she was
super
not
close with them until kind of towards the end.
Yeah.
So I like that.
I like that
interaction too.
Yeah. They were just like, oh God, Hermione again.
Yeah. Insufferable.
Like, go, lady, let it go. But yeah, so his relationship with Ron really gets me. His relationship with Hagrid. I love Hagrid, and I think the narrator makes me love Hagrid even more. Like, I love
the voices
I love the voices he does.
Yeah.
He does such a good job, and Hagrid was just, oh, I just loved it.
I know.
So much. Let's see. Okay, the next one that I read is The Magnolia Palace by Fiona Davis, which I really, really loved. So I don't read that many historical fiction. I've definitely started to get a little bit more into historical fiction. This one really went in a direction I wasn't expecting. Okay, so this book takes place in the Gilded Age, and they're at the home of the Frick Mansion, which I do not typically have like such an experience with a book that I go and I search something afterwards. And the Frick Mansion is a place in New York, and I went and I searched and I looked at a lot of these pieces because it still has like all of these art pieces.
Oh, nice. From
like, there's a whole Frick museum and stuff. And I actually spent so much time going over these pieces because the author did a great job of weaving fiction with fact in this piece, and I loved it so much. So I had to go and like see what art pieces she was talking about, so that I could actually see them. And I kind of want to visit the Frick Mansion when I go again. But this was about, you know, it was set in 2 different timelines, and it was about a woman back in the Gilded Age who was trying to kind of get away from who she was. She was kind of on the run. And she got a job as a secretary in the Frick Mansion when the original family was living there. And there was a lot of strife between the actual family, and a whole bunch of stuff happens. And there's this Magnolia diamond that goes missing, which is fictional, by the way. That is the only part that really does not exist, is the Magnolia diamond. And she somehow gets trapped up in it. And it's just such a good story, and like there's murder and there's betrayal and there's all these things that I was not expecting when I was going into this. And then we have some current day people that are kind of linked to the past, and they end up uncovering some stuff, and tracking down the truth years later and kind of making peace with it, with the remaining members of the Frick family that are still alive. So it was really good, really, really, really good. I gave it 5 stars, and I highly recommend it. This was my first book that I ever read by her, and I kind of want to read her other ones now.
Yeah. I love when I find authors like that.
I know, right? Especially for like genres that
you don't typically read.
Yeah. And that was a good one.
Yeah.
The next one I read was The Affair by Danielle Steele. I've loved Danielle Steele since I was like a preteen, and I'm not sure that I can read Danielle Steele anymore.
Why do you say that?
It's not, and it's nothing against, like, I still, they're good stories, but I just feel like she has so many now that I kind of I'm starting to feel like I've read them all. Without reading them.
Out.
Yeah, I just kind of feel like I've read them all. Like, they have to be far and few between. Like, this one, I gave it 3 stars. I was so mad about the way this one ended, because it was the story of a woman who, well, it's a family, really. It's about it follows the mom and the sisters as well. But the part that angered me the most was the main character, the daughter. And she is married to a very famous writer. And he's working on a movie. And he has this very public affair with one of the actresses. Gets her pregnant.
What a scandal.
It was a whole scandal.
Yeah.
And her mother runs this magazine, and they like, it's the big talk. So the magazine like is pushing her to run an interview, run the story, and she's like really not wanting to, because obviously it's her son-in-law, but nobody knows that. So it's this whole thing, right? And she's gonna divorce him. They're split up. This is like the 3rd time he's cheated on her. They're getting divorced. And then the end happens. And throughout the whole book, they're getting divorced, and it's done deal, right? And then the end happens, and they work it out. They work it out.
Well, how are you gonna work it out? They made her cheat
together.
on you 3 times.
They work it out, and they get back together. And not only do they get back together, but this is the part that really irritated me, because like, I'm already irritated that you're getting back together, because that's not the ending I wanted for her. And like, I get it. We readers, we don't always get what we want. Like, that's what the author wanted.
But you followed this woman through the whole process of her getting over this betrayal in her marriage and ending her marriage.
Right.
Yeah.
But I also, like, the most ridiculous thing was they forgot that the paperwork was already being filed. So it was filed, so they actually were divorced. So the ending was them getting remarried.
Oh my god.
That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever read.
Okay.
So, yeah. No.
Just a no.
No, just a no. That ending for me just really killed it. I was like, no, that's ridiculous. No. Also, no. I'm sorry. Just no. Don't take him back. That's
very
ridiculous.
public affair. Got somebody else pregnant, and you're just like, yeah, let's work it out.
She deserves better. Forget him.
Yeah. Well, next one I'm gonna talk about. The First Crescent City, House of Earth and Blood. Yes. So if you are not familiar with this series yet, it follows this girl Bryce. I don't think what'd you say? I can't. Not baby. I didn't know what you were referencing for a second. But it follows her through this journey. I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying this because it happens in the beginning. Her best friend dies, and her best friend is like a shapeshifter. She's a wolf, and the whole pack dies in a really like gruesome death, and they think that it's this criminal. But it come to find out it's not, and people are investigating it, and she ends up being a suspect for some people. Obviously, she's not the one that did it, so she ends up working with those people to try to figure out who actually did do it. So the whole book is
done it.
By the way, her best friend, Danica, is A, one of my favorite characters I've ever read, and B, booked and busy. Second book is also digging through Danica's past, but what we don't know initially is that Bryce is actually not only half Fae, she is half Fae royalty. And we meet a lot of the really coolest side characters. Rune, also one of my favorite characters that she's ever written.
I adore Rune.
I do too. And then you see her build these relationships with these side characters after she very much does not want to build relationships with anybody after what happened to Danica and how like absolutely broken she was. But it was just the
okay, but
coolest
La
story.
Hava.
Oh my god.
Mary.
I know. And Syrinx.
I love Syrinx. My baby.
Yeah, her little like friend that she lives with and her pet are the like coolest characters and so integral to her as a character.
I know.
But it's kind of like a mystery. They're unfolding things all throughout the way. And you are taken into like this fantastical world. It's very much like an urban fantasy. It's more modern than a lot of fantasies. They have like they have like cell phones and like stuff like that, but it is still very much fantasy. But I really liked it. I really liked it. It's my second favorite series by Sarah J. Maas.
I knew you would.
Yeah. Definitely above Throne of Glass.
Some people just need to listen to me.
Okay.
I know. It's my second favorite too.
Yeah. It's above Throne of Glass.
It's above Throne of Glass.
I'm not trying to throw any shade, but...
No, me neither. But that's just how they fall.
Yeah.
Let them fall where they may.
Yeah.
The next one I read has The Women's March, a novel of the 1913 women's suffrage procession.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one was very, very good. It was extremely educational. It was definitely an important time in our history, and I definitely wanted to read this because, obviously, I mean, self-explanatory. It was definitely very heartbreaking and at the same time empowering. I definitely think she got a lot of facts in there while keeping it fictional. It was difficult though. I gave it 4 stars because I definitely think it was hard to get all of that history in there and still make it a fiction story, if that makes sense. Because there was a lot of, there wasn't so much dialogue, you know, there was more telling instead of showing, if that makes sense. But I definitely, I'm not going to knock it because it got the point across. I felt like it was a strong telling, whether or not, you know, people, I know a lot of people were complaining about this one because it didn't feel as much of a fiction story as some of her other ones, but I don't care. It was really good and educational, and that's what we really needed about this. Yeah, so I enjoyed it, and it was definitely more like historical.
Yeah. 2 historicals this month.
I know, right? Look at me. What am I doing? This is really crazy.
Yeah. So next one I'm going to talk about is obviously I immediately started reading the second Crescent City book, House of Sky and Breath. This one, I'm not going to talk too much about it because it just came out. It literally just came out. But I mean, obviously we're following the same characters, and my favorite thing about this one is that we get reintroduced to characters from the first book, but you get a deeper dive into who they are. I'm talking specifically about, do you say Ethan or Ethan? I think Ethan. I think it's Ethan, just with an I.
Yeah.
But, and also we get introduced to Cormac, who's quite the interesting character. And so nothing got spoiled for me. I know some stuff got spoiled for you while you were reading it. Luckily, nothing got spoiled for me. I just kept seeing TikToks where people are like, no spoilers, but you have to read to the end. You have to see what the ending is. And all I have to say is I kind of called the end a little bit. Not exactly, but I did call the end a little bit. And she can vouch for me because I was texting her about it.
She kind of did, but
not exactly.
You just gotta read it, okay? I'm just telling you, you just gotta read it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It delves more into the politics of the world than the first one did. Yeah.
Just read it. Just read it.
Okay. And I'll have to say, if anything happens to Hunt, I will never read another book by her again.
Or Brian.
That's what I meant to say. I didn't mean to say Hunt. Hunt can come or go.
Oh, well, I'll be upset about Hunt too. Yeah. So Hunt or Brian.
But if anything happens to Rune, I will rage.
No, I'm really gonna rage. Like,
yeah.
Anyways. Okay, so the next one I read was The Harlequin, which is number 15 in the Anita Blake series by Laurel K. Hamilton. I gave that one 4 stars. In this one, we are introduced to some real bad fellers named the Harlequin. Mm-hmm. Fitting. Yeah. Don't you think? Yeah. So this one was definitely more action-packed. We actually had a bad guy. We were fighting something. It was not just more on the personal level of, you know, some drama. So I did like this one a bit more. I'm not going to say too much because there's just way too much for me to say and nobody would know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes with these books in this series, it's hard to like talk about it without spoiling things from the previous book and like.
Yeah, these are like, especially with like fantasy or paranormal, you're dealing with so many different characters and so many different subplots. So
I feel like I can't talk about the second Crescent City without spoiling stuff from the first Crescent City.
And I'm on number 15 here, guys.
That's
like I just cannot. I could tell you, but then I'm spoiling the 20s, stuff, right? And like, yeah, we're like in like number 26 or something. Oh, so like, God. I can just tell you that it definitely was a good one in the series.
Yeah.
The next one I read was The Burning Girls by C.J. Tudor, and I gave that one a 4-star because I really liked this one. So The Burning Girls was about a vicar who moves to a new little town to take over the church, the chapel, for the previous vicar who had recently passed away, unfortunately, due to a suicide.
Oh.
So there's this old legend about the Burning Girls, hence the title, and there's all these terrible like rumors floating through the town about all these things that have happened like to the previous vicar and other things in the town. And almost immediately when this new vicar shows up, she is met with a lot of resistance from the town because her name is Jack and nobody was expecting that she would be a woman. So when she shows up with her teenage daughter, there's lots of controversy. So pretty much some stuff like almost immediately starts happening, like weird things. Like they literally show up on moving day and they're moving their stuff into the house because like their little cottage or whatever is paid for by the church,
right?
You know, and they're moving their stuff in, and there's like this little girl in their backyard crying and covered in blood.
Like I love when a story has a deranged child. You know,
immediately, just immediately. So like stuff starts happening right away, and I was like, okay, I'm here for it. Let's go. What an adventure!
Yeah,
real good. Real good. I wanted to put it on my staff pick at work and we did not have it. So yeah, that tells you it was going right on my staff pick, but yeah, it was really good.
Next one I want to talk about is Every Heart a Doorway. I actually bought this when I was in Seattle when did I go to Seattle? In March? In February? Sometime in the last couple months. I bought it from a store called the Elliott Bay Book Company. It's really famous in Seattle. If you've ever been, you've probably heard of it. This was actually a novella. It's pretty short, and as you might be able to see, like the text is pretty big. I read it very quickly, like in a course of a couple hours. It was really good though.
Yeah?
I've never read anything quite like this. It's about these children that kind of, like the ones that like fall through the cracks, you know what I mean? The ones that have experienced a different worlds, but when they come back, nobody believes them. And so there's this house for these, like, the troubled youth that their parents bring them to because they think that they're just troubled. And it's a house that all these kids can go to that have claimed that they've been to a different world before. And they can, like, find a home there because the owner of the house has also been to, like, a different world. But it's sort of like a mystery because you're kind of unpacking what each of these characters have experienced as well as, like, the owner of the house has experienced. It's really interesting. It's one of those ones that like I can't dive too much into because I went into it completely blind. It was actually a staff pick at the bookstore that I went to, and I just like picked it up and read it, and I was so excited that I did because, like I said, I've never read anything quite like it.
That sounds amazing.
Like longer books. I like series, so I didn't think I'd love a novella this way. I didn't think that there would be enough detail for me to get invested in the story and the characters, but I definitely did. And you end up really rooting for them. But yeah, it was really good. I really liked it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Okay, so the last two that I have for you are probably my favorite reads of the year. Of the month.
Dang.
I mean,
I was gonna say.
That last one though. So, the next one I read was Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. Wow. Okay. So this book is now a Netflix adaptation, and I have been eyeing it for a while. Karen Slaughter writes amazing. Like I think last month or the month before I read I had like an audiobook by her. It's like Last Breath or something.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been recommended her books before, but Pieces of Her, wow, I did not expect what I was going into. Like, such a good thriller. Such a good thriller, told from multiple timelines, like 2 different timelines, like back in the past, and then from her daughter's point of view today. And I don't even want to tell you that much because it's such a wild ride, and you literally uncover things as they're happening. Mm-hmm. Like, there's so much to uncover.
Like, you're learning with the character.
That's and awesome. I don't want to tell you very much because, like, literally there's so much to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
Such a good book. If you watched the show, read the book. Because the show...
Is that the one that's on Netflix?
Yes.
Okay.
It left out so much. Mm-hmm. Like, they only had, you know, so many episodes to do it, and I get that. But they also kind of switched some stuff up with the way they were telling it, and it's told a bit differently in the book, and I think if you are a fan of the show, you should watch the book. Or you should watch the book. If you were a fan of the show, you should read the book because it explains it much better. And, like, you will understand those characters so much better. And it just makes a much bigger impact. Because what I did was I definitely read it first and watched it. Because Salem was like, you need to watch it. It's so good. And then she came and she borrowed the book from me.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you need to read the book.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good.
Yeah.
You should read it. It's
I
really
want to. I've been looking into the show, but I'll probably read the book first.
Read the book first.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the show kind of made me a little mad after I read the book. Because I was like, you're not making it strong enough. It's not impactful enough. It's not impactful enough because you're missing too much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, which, like, happens. Mm-hmm. I get it. You only have so much time and you're trying to... But really, to me, after reading the book, it was just not impactful enough.
Right. And last one I read was The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This has been out for a long time. I've had it on my TBR for a long time. I've just had it sitting on my shelf, and I kind of, on a whim, decided to pick it up. I know I said earlier I had a great reading month. I don't know if I like this one or not. I can't tell.
Okay.
Like, I was entertained. I read it. It has so many aspects of different books that I've read and so many tropes that I've seen already.
Okay.
That I almost was like, okay, it's not really original, but it was definitely, like, entertaining.
Will you read the sequel?
Probably at some point.
Okay.
But it's not one of those that I'm rushing out.
Yeah. Okay.
It was about this girl named Jude who is immortal, and she becomes a part of the Fae world kind of like by accident. Her oldest sister is half Fae, and then her mom what's the word I'm looking for? Escaped with her oldest sister before the 2 mortal girls were born. So there's 3 sisters total, and the Fae father comes back to reclaim his daughter and kills Jude's parents. And and then, like, out of duty, because the 2 younger girls are his daughter's sisters, he takes all 3 of them back to the Fae world. So that's how she becomes involved. Oh. Because she's immortal, and the sister right below her is also immortal, but their oldest sister, Vivi, is half Fae. So they kind of get thrown into, not only is he like Fae, he's royalty. He's up there. And so there's, like, one overall Fae king, and he's kind of he's not the Fae king, but he's up there. He rules over his land. And she ends up really coming to love this man, as weird as that sounds in the beginning, just because she was a child when she was brought to this world, and he raised her, and she wants to stay in the Fae realm, and really the only way that they're allowing her to do that is if she marries somebody from the Fae realm. But she doesn't want to do that. She wants to earn her keep.
She wants to be, like forced marriages, people.
But she can't, as a mortal adult, stay without a reason. She wants to be a knight, though. She wants to be one of the king's knights. She wants to, like, fight for the king.
I love that.
But then the king decides to step down and crown a new king, and at this coronation, a whole bunch of shit goes down, and it goes from there. And she ends up working with one of the princes who she never thought she would end up working with because they were enemies. But now they're both enemies of this Fae realm because they're on the run, and they end up having to do all this crazy shit because the prince that she ends up running off with is, like, kind of enemy number 1 in the Fae realm.
Wow.
I don't want to talk about why, but he's enemy number 1 in the Fae realm. And it kind of goes from there, and it kind of, like, follows their journey.
Okay.
So it was good. Like, I had fun reading it. But like I said, you're going to be reading it. If you've read any fantasy at all, which I haven't even read that much fantasy, but I was like, okay, I've seen that aspect before.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen that before. But it wasn't bad, especially not for a young adult. I feel like young adult kind of doesn't always delve into like the politics of the world that much.
True.
So that was okay.
True. Yeah. My very last
I want to
read,
hear about what you have to say about this.
So my very last read of the month was an advanced reader copy of An Honest Lie by Taryn Fisher. So thank you, NetGalley, because I've been waiting. And I really thought I wasn't going to get it.
It comes out at the end of this month, so it'll be in my wrap-up for next month.
So I'm really, really, really excited because I finally got it, because I requested this forever ago. Definitely 5 stars. So here's the thing. I think this is probably one of my favorite reads of the year.
Really?
I loved it. Okay, and already there's some reviews that are like, oh, I don't know. I loved Rainey, okay? The main character. I just want to watch her fucking rage, okay? And I want her to burn it all down. All of it.
You want to watch her
and give a shit.
World. Yeah.
Okay? I don't give a shit. Burn it all down. So, it starts with, okay, let me read you the synopsis, okay? Because it's very, I don't want to mess it up for you guys because, you know, Taryn's Taryn. But it starts with, I'm going to kill her. You better come if you want to save her. Lorraine, Rainey, lives at the top of Tiger Mountain. Remote, moody, cloistered in pine trees and fog, it's a sanctuary, a new life. She can hide from the disturbing past she wants to forget, if she's allowed to. When Rainey reluctantly agrees to a girls' weekend in Vegas, she's prepared for an exhausting parade of shots and slot machines. Okay, that's what I would be prepared for, right?
Most people are prepared for when they go to Vegas.
Right. But after a wild night, her friend Braith doesn't come back to the hotel room. And then Rainey gets the text message, sent from Braith's phone. Someone has her. But Rainey is who they really want, and Rainey knows why. What follows is a twisted, shocking journey on the knife edge of life and death. If she wants to save Braith and herself, the only way is to step back into the past.
Oh, I see. So you start with her now, and then you go back into her past to figure out how she got here. Okay.
And the past, I could not eat this shit up enough. Let me tell you, it's not what I was expecting. And when I got to her past, I was like, bitch, you got me. I'm in. Let's go.
Was it twisty? Like you weren't expecting, like you were surprised by things? Okay.
Let's just say, as a true crime fan,
ooh,
I was in immediately. I was like, yes. Fuck yes.
That makes me so excited.
And I don't want to say anything because I don't want to, like.
I'm so pumped. I wait forever for her releases, and I get really excited about them.
I'll tell you more.
Okay.
When we get off camera.
Yeah.
But I don't want to tell anybody else because I just want you guys to go in blind and experience it. Some people, it may not be your thing, but listen, I was really fucking into it.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good, and like I said, and when you read it, you'll understand why I loved Rainey, and I just wanted her to burn it all down. Burn it all down.
You like destroy them all, girl.
Get them.
Yeah.
And that's probably, you know, why I am a huge Taryn Fisher fan.
Right. Listen, I'm a girl's girl, even if they're evil.
Right, exactly. Just burn it all down.
Yeah.
So that's what we have for you in March. Also, real big shout out to NetGalley because I was not giving them enough credit here. Thank you for the advanced reader copy of Home Before Dark, The Disappearing Act, The Affair, The Women's March, and The Burning Girls.
Okay.
So thank you. I literally had all those on my Kindle from NetGalley. So thanks, NetGalley. I appreciate it. It's ridiculous.
I know, like half of
my reading list.
Yeah.
So good. But, alright, that's all we have for you in March. Hope you enjoyed. Comment down below and let us know what you're reading, what you read. Let us know what you think. And hit that like button and subscribe. Turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next. And we will see you. Bye. Bye.